Okay, hello everybody and welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I'm actually really excited to be doing this video because I love some statistics. I don't know, I just find it fascinating and it's just so interesting to me. So I hope you also find it interesting because today I'm going to be sharing some statistics from my 2021 reading. So basically, I'm just going to be starting off with these statistics that Goodreads has provided me with. So, shout out to them, I guess. I don't really know how, but I did manage to read 116 books in 2021. My goal was 50, which I think I passed in like April or something, which is crazy to me. I literally don't see how I made that much time to read. I read 43,544 pages. That's a lot. You see this book right here? No, where'd it go? Oh, you can't see it. You see it down here? That's 43 of them. I can't even fathom it. I, again, don't know how I did that. And then my average rating was a 3.63, which is honestly like pretty good. I feel like the majority of ratings I give out are 4 stars. But towards the beginning of the year, I was giving out a lot of 3 stars because I was still trying to like figure things out and like find what my preferred genre and all that kind of stuff is, which I think I've figured out now. But it's very indicative of what this year was for me. It was a lot of just trying things out, figuring out what I wanted to read. And I think I have a pretty good grasp on that now. Which you can actually kind of tell that I wrote down my average rating by month, so here's a lovely chart of that. And it kind of, honestly, I don't know if this rating by month tells you anything, to be honest, because my best month and my worst month were back to back and right in the middle of the year. But the month that I had the highest rating average was June, which makes sense because this is when I read The Infernal Devices and The Last Hours and basically just a lot of Shadowhunters books, and they all got like 5 stars. So no shock there. It's also the same reason for why my rating in May is so low at a 3.43, because that's when I read The Mortal Instruments. And all of those books got like a 3, one of them got a 2, so I'm not shocked that that's my lowest rated month, but I just think it's funny because they're both from the same series. So now, what should we go to? I think I'm gonna talk about the general like star ratings I gave. I gave 31 books 5 stars, which is 27% of my reading, which I feel like is pretty good. 1 in every 4 books I read is gonna be a 5 star, which I feel like it's pretty high. And then I gave 48 books 4 stars, which is 43%, which again is really good. I gave 23 books 3 stars, which is 19%. And then 3 books I gave 2 stars, which is 2%, which is, you know, really good. And then I also didn't rate 9 books, which is 7%, because they're either like reading for class or I just didn't know how to rate classics. So, you know, I feel like that's a pretty good breakdown. I honestly have a hard time giving books 2 stars because if I even just generally like enjoyed the book, I'll probably give it a 3 stars. The books that I gave it 2 stars, I very much dislike. I am very thankful that I didn't give any books 1 star because I feel like if I'm on the verge of giving a book a 1 star, I'll DNF it. I've DNF'd a couple of books this year. I can't really remember which ones though. I know I DNF'd The Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. Oh, I think I also DNF'd Persuasion by Jane Austen. That's it though. I feel like generally I have a good idea of which books I like and will want to finish, so I just don't read books that I'm probably gonna DNF. Who wants some genre stats? I want some genre stats. Sorry, this book is literally just so many numbers, and we're gonna have some graphs too. You know how I feel about graphs, so. Here's a graph. I'm gonna put the graph here. For my genre, again, I was really trying to figure some things out this year, so I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna tell you which genres I will not be touching again. I read 62 fantasy books this year, which amounts to 53% of my overall reading. I imagine that will very much be going up in 2022 because I have figured out that fantasy is my favorite genre. Literally no shock there. Romance. I have 10 romance books, which is 8% of my reading. Towards the beginning of the year, I was reading some subpar romances, but I found some really good ones towards the end there. So I think I'm definitely going to be reading more romance as well. Just general YA books, I read 9. It's like all the YA that's not fantasy. You know, so that is 7% of my overall reading. For middle grade, I have 10 middle grade. I didn't really know how to sort these into genres. It's all being shoved into middle grade. 2 nonfiction books, which I'm not gonna read nonfiction, it's not my thing. Mystery, I had 3. Those were all required reading for classes, I think, for the most part. And then I also had 9 classics / Greek lit, which is being shoved into the same category, which I do kind of want to read more classics, but I don't know if that'll actually end up happening. And then I have 5 horror books, which I do like horror, but I don't generally read it in any time that's not fall. So, though I guess I did read some of these in May. I don't know. I don't know. The last section of this video will be things I have learned / my goals for 2022. So, basically what I've learned this year is that I prefer fantasy. Out of all of the genres, specifically YA fantasy, I don't know what it is, but it's like crack, man. It's so entertaining. A lot of it is just so good. It also has a lot of good romances. I love romance in fantasy. Top tier, so good. I like romance? Who would have thought? I really was not, like, in my, I think it was my mid-year freakout tag? I don't exactly remember. I think I was talking about how I was going to stop reading YA fantasy because I don't like it, but now I'm into it. I will continue to read contemporary romance. I think I was just not reading the right ones. The last main thing I learned was that I cannot stick to a monthly TBR. I tried like a couple of times and it did not work. However, I can stick to yearly TBRs pretty well. Where did it go? I have to show you just because I'm proud of myself. So this is my reading journal. I've not updated it in a while, but I do have my books I want to read in 2021 spread in here somewhere. But this was my books I want to read in 2021 spread, and I read a grand total of 10 out of 12. What is that percentage? That's 83%. That's a solid B right there, and I'm proud of myself. So I hope this means I can stick to my 2022 TBR because I'm really excited about all of those books, but just really hoping I have the motivation to read them. But yeah, monthly TBRs I cannot do. If my October TBR was any indication, I should just stop doing them. Before I talk about my 2022 reading goals, I want to talk about how I did on my 2021 reading goals, because this was this spread that I did for my 2021 just general resolutions, but I do have 2 things on here that do pertain to books. One of them was to read more classics. Now, I think I read a grand total of like 3. I don't even know if it was 3, but I don't care about reading classics, honestly. If I have like the urge to read them, I obviously will, but I don't want to push myself into reading something that I don't like. I do have a couple of classics that I want to try out. Like, I want to read Pride and Prejudice, and I also want to try reading Jane Eyre this year, but I don't know. I just think, you know, if I don't like classics, I'm not gonna read them, so. And then my other goal was to simply read a shit ton of books, and I quote. That happened. And then the last portion of this video is my goals for 2022. I just wrote down a couple of goals here that I've been doing some reflecting on how my reading has gone, the quality of the books that I've been reading this year, and just how I want to change that. So like my main goal for 2021 is to read more high fantasy, because I don't read enough of it because it is very intimidating. Just looking at all of those long books, it's just a lot. But I generally really enjoy it because I finished the Lord of the Rings series this year. I read The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson and The Pride of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon, and I loved all of them so much. But it's just hard to want to read them even though I know I'm gonna love them. Like, the payoff is so good, but getting myself to do it is really hard. But the world building is so rich. Following a very large cast of characters is one of my favorite things in books ever, and I just need to read more. My main one that I really want to get to is the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. I also need to continue the Storyline Archive with Words of Radiance, I think is the next one. I'm really hoping to read that this summer. There's like my main goal. And then my other goal is to read less, which may sound counterintuitive because, you know, I feel like that's what BookTube is, like, reading, you know, all the books you can in a year. And like, if that's what you want to do, like, that's cool. That's what I did this year because I just wanted to read everything. Like, there's so many things out there that was like, oh, I have to get to this. Oh, I have to get to this. But like, do I? I just need to calm down because the main problem is I've read all of these books, and I love the fact that I've read all of these books and I've loved so many of them, but I don't remember what happens in so many of them, and that's just sad. And like, maybe that'll happen even if I read 50 books. Like, maybe I'll still forget things, but like, I just need to chill. That's just what I'm learning here. I need to calm down. I'm not talking like I'm gonna read 10 books next year, but I'm thinking like in the realm of 50 to 75 because 116 is just insane and I can't do it anymore. Honestly, that was a lot of talking and I'm tired now from just thinking about math. So I really hope this wasn't too boring. I'm gonna try and do like some fun stuff with the editing to make it a little more visually interesting instead of just me sitting here shouting percentages at you. So I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please let me know down below what are your reading goals for 2022. That's what I would like to know. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one.